Lockdown to lock-in, lockdown chronicles, lockdown normal. We're on a lockdown P, and this lockdown P is gonna be a life-changing lockdown P, right? Right, amen. Hello everyone, how are you doing? How are you doing today? You're welcome back to another vlog episode. My name is Oluwatoyin, which means God is worthy to be praised. In my dialect is Oluwatoyin. Toyin for short and TY for shorter, which is where we get TY's thoughts from. I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and on these videos I just share my lessons on this interesting journey of life and living. And you will agree with me that right now we are in very interesting times, literally unprecedented, rare in occurrence, where there was a complete lockdown because of something that has taken the global world by storm. And today on this video, I just want to share my perspective. I just want to share my thoughts, how I see this whole thing. Now, as you can see what I titled this video, I said locked down and locked in. Now, what do I mean? Like I said, this is a rare, unprecedented occurrence in life. It might happen only in, I don't know, in the lifetime of a few of us that are on the earth. And for those of us that are on the earth for such a time and season as this is just a wonder. Now, my question is, what are you doing with your lockdown season? I was watching someone and I've been talking to people, and I find it a bit, I don't know the word to be scary or amazed when people say that they are bored. Now, I understand how you can be quote and unquote bored in terms of the general idea of boredom. But let's leave that. Maybe boredom is what you think, and maybe there's no lights, there's no this, there's no that. I get that, right? But for me, I'm looking deeper into this whole thing that is happening to all of us, and I'm thinking to myself, there must be something going on. And the only way to take off that bored cap is to be able to get to the place of purposefully and meaningfully spending this time, because things are going on. There is such a shift occurring that if you stay at home and you're just one of those who is just bored and complaining and you're tired, and like I said, there can be many factors that can cause this. I mean, maybe there's no lights, mosquitoes are biting you, there's no food, there's no this, there's no that. I get all of that. But even in the midst of all of that, there can be purpose and meaning, so that this lockdown will not pass me and you by. And so what do I mean when I say lock in? And when I was thinking about this, things were coming to my mind, even things I had to do. For example, this place behind me, for almost the last 5 months, it's been like a jungle. It's literally been, it looks all put together now, but it's been like a jungle. But what happened was, when we couldn't go out again, and I knew that, I had to be indoors. So I'm the kind of person that, if I have to work, I'd like to be in a proper structured environment for work. It's the same way when I was in school. If I had to go and read, I had to go to a library. I'm not one of those who can read from your room, read from, I don't know, no. Library is for reading, room is for room, spaces are what they are meant for. So I said, to make this my lockdown at home time productive, I need to create the space that still feels very official, that works for me, that helps me to work. And the first thing I did on Tuesday morning, after when lockdown started, I just rearranged this whole space and reconfigured it so that at least it'll get me, together. Maybe that's the first thing I'm going to say. How can you, because it's easy for, whether it's going to be 14 days, whether it's going to be whatever it is, it's easy for that time to just pass us by, and that time will not be productive. And God knows that will be such a waste. That will be so sad. How can you first, within where you are, and I know that spaces are different. Some people might even say, I don't have a table and chair in my house. I get that. Or, I can't even afford. It's fine. But whatever it is that is in your space, how can you create your environment so that it can help you to be productive? Some people are working from home. That is hard for them to do. Some people might not be working from home because the kind of job you do, you cannot work from home, but you are home. But even when you are home, it would be sad if you are just spending time watching television and online and all of that, and just consuming things that have no purpose or meaning to the next 10, 20, 30 years of your life. Because the way that I see this season, some have called it a setback because it seems people are losing their jobs. People are not maybe going to earn a salary, maybe for the month of March, for the month of April, offices are shut down, economies are shut down, globes are shut down. Yes, I understand. But I was thinking about it and I told myself, it's actually not a setback, it's a pullback. Now, when I heard the word pullback, the analogy that God gave me was a bow and an arrow. When you pull back the bow because you want to fire the arrow, what happens is, even though it seems it's been pulled back, by the time you fire the arrow, it goes farther than you could have ever believed. So for me, this season is not a setback. It's actually just a pullback. But it's a pullback because there is a firing that is about to occur. But it is if we allow ourselves to fully accept this pullback and to fully enter the purpose of the pullback, that when this is over and done, in the next couple of months, years, and decades, we will understand why all of this occurred. It is about saying, okay, in the midst of this, God, what are you doing? And what am I meant to be doing in what you're doing? I was also reminded of the times we had like this. And when I say times we had like this, when we had a lot of time upon our hands in university. And for those that were Christians in school, those were times where you could pray for 2 hours, pray for 3 hours, pray for 4 hours, pray for 5 hours. And we used to joke amongst ourselves in those days that there were times we're praying, we knew we're praying the next 10 years of our lives. We knew we're praying the next 50 years of our lives. We knew that we're digging deep, things that might be manifesting in your life now, that because you prayed them 10 years ago, they are happening now. And for me, this is another season like that. Some of you spend 4 hours in traffic. You've not had to sit in traffic for 2 weeks. What are you now using that extra 4 hours that God has given you for? Some people, their lives have been wake up in the morning at 5 a.m., leave my house at 5:30, before I get to my work 8 o'clock, close at 9, before I get home 11. So now it just seems like there's extra time. What are you using that time for? Do you realize how precious it is what God has put in our hands, even in the midst of all of this pressure? It is the perspective you bring to the table concerning any situation that you would get out of that situation. So what is your perspective concerning this? Because I was thinking to myself, if you are, let's say, 18 years and above, let's even just give 18 and below, but if you are 18 and above, I'm sorry, you cannot be bored. Because there's so much to do in this life. There's so much to know in this life. For some, God has said, stop the activity. And He's saying, let me pull you back. Let me bring you back to the place of purpose. Let me bring you back to the place of meaning, where you can sit down and calm down and re-strategize and realign and reorganize your life, so that by the time this is over, you are somebody else entirely. You are thinking different. All those books that you had told yourself by April 2020, I would have read 1, 2, 3, 4. There are some books behind me right now. That was me, and I hadn't. What I'm doing in this time is catching up on all of them, expanding my mind, expanding my horizon. You know, life is changing. In fact, life has changed. How are you prepared for that change? How are you understanding that the way we used to do things before COVID-19 has changed? So by the time this is over, a lot of, in fact, businesses have transformed. There are some businesses that might cease to exist because of what is going on right now. How are you thinking about yours? How are you thinking about the things in your hand? How are you thinking about how you're going to do them differently? What God is saying in all of this? There's so much opportunity in this. And so I just thought to do this video because I've been hearing these conversations. I'm so bored. I have nothing to do. I'm like, you have nothing to do. I'm just watching television. I have nothing against you watching TV, as long as it is purposeful and it is meaningful. Now, I'm not saying that this is not a time for some people to chill and rest. Trust me, it is. Maybe life has been intense, life has been crazy, but don't over chill and don't over rest, because there are new things. There are new things. There are new things. Let everything you do in this season be purposeful and meaningful. Like I said, when rare occurrences like this occur, we all have to wake up. It is too rare to sleep on it. It is too rare to chill it out. It is too weird and too strange to just let it pass and just say, okay, life is moving on. It's COVID-19. I'm just in my house. It's a holiday. Oh, please. That thing, the way people are saying this is a holiday. Someone sent a message, how is your holiday going? I said, God forbid, it's not a holiday. Holly shaking. What am I holding? Didn't we have holiday in Christmas? Won't we have Easter? It's not a holiday. No, I do not at all count it as one. And I hope to God that you don't count it as one, because there is so much in this season that we need to lock into, and not just lock down and shut down and you're like, okay, when 14 days is over or when whatever is over. No, we need to lock into our maker. We need to lock into ourselves. We need to lock into our families. We need to lock into our children. We need to lock into our parents. We need to lock into our siblings. If you're single and you're just feeling lonely and you're just thinking, oh, if only I had someone, you'll be all right. This is the time to also lock into yourself. I never know how in locking into yourself in this season, you can even find someone, even in as much as you feel you're in your space. The point I'm trying to make is there is something in this season for each and every one of us. But the only people that will get it out are the people that dig in. And digging in is not necessarily fun work. Digging in is not work that we would all like to do. Digging in takes a lot of discipline. I have been at home. I mean, we've all been home, obviously. I take my shower 6:30 every day. Why? Because I still need to keep myself on a routine. We're all different kinds of people, but I know myself. If I'm doing all that, I'm still in pajamas by 9, I will not do anything. That Malcolm, my flying Jordan is not helping my destiny. So that was always my schedule, even before this happened. I take my bath at a certain time. It hasn't changed because the discipline of this season and the discipline of life in general is serious. Life is serious business, or at least aspiring to live a successful, purposeful, meaningful, intentional, deliberate life that you can look back on, people can look back on, and that you leave a legacy on is serious business. There are certain things about myself right now that I'm like, Tony, this is such a good time God has given you. There are certain things I was really lagging on as the year was going on, and I was thinking, how would you catch up? For me, this catch-up season, I'm catching up on so many things. I'm realigning so many things. I'm just using this season to just say, okay, Lord, guys, there's so much in this. Don't be the bored gang. Don't be the I'm waiting for it to end gang. Be the purposeful gang. Be the meaningful gang. Be the intentional gang. You know, there are so many challenges these days. Don't get lost on social media. Like I said, except it is purposeful. I started turning off my phone at certain times and turn them on at certain times because it's easy to get into those things. It's just easy. You can just sit down. I know, especially Instagram can be 1 hour you'd have spent it. You don't even know how you got to where you got to by the time you got there, because it just started from this, then click this, then went to this, then you saw this challenge, you watch this person's on, you watch a person on. Before you know it, 2 hours have gone. Hey, 2 hours. Time is money. Time now money, time now money, it's money. Time is of the essence. And this time seems like such a long time. Sometimes that's the deception of when things like this happen. It just seems like, 14 days is so long. Now that there are even breaks to now go out. So even the lockdown break has been broken. It's just going to finish like this, and that is it. Or however the amount of days. And then you just wonder, I thought I was going to do this. I said I was going to read 5 books. I said I was going to do this. You did not, maybe you did only 20%. Why? Because there's also the discipline of routine that you need. And routine can be harder for some people. And if you're one of those kinds of people, you need to really get yourself down. You need to understand how to manage the children, manage the spouse, manage the house chores, manage this, manage that, manage the parents, manage all of the things that are around you, so that you can get your life together. And this is also the time to not focus on what is not working. Because the truth is, there's a tendency, especially when it seems there is free time or idle time, there's a tendency to now sit, and that's when you think, oh, I'm not married, I'm this certain age, oh, I don't have this, I'm this, oh, I don't, there's that tendency. It happens to every single one of us. This is not the time to focus on what you don't have. This is time to focus on what you have, what you can control, what you can do about what you have. There is no point focusing on what you cannot control, who you cannot control, and not all those things. It's not working. Leave the ones that you cannot control. There is no point killing yourself over those. Take it to the Lord in prayer and do the one that is your business. And the last thing that I'm going to share is that in this season, as much as possible, be a helper to somebody else. No matter what is the little that you have, you can help and give somebody else something. It's always very necessary that when we're in seasons like this, we understand that there are people that cannot afford as much as we can. Even if it's a conversation, even if a friend pops in your mind and you pick the phone and you just say, you know what, I just wanted to check up on you. How are you? It's just thinking out of ourselves and realizing that we're not the only ones in the world with problems. And helping some other people in their space is very key in these times. So thank you for watching this video. Those are the things that I just thought to share. Like I said, it is not lockdown, it is lock in. And in locking in, it is time to just conceive those things that God has put in us. For some is birthing, for some is conception, depending on where you've been coming from to get to this point. We are all at different seasons in life, but whatever it is, this season can be used purposefully and meaningfully and not wasted away and not get bored about and not just watch TV and the next series and all of those things. Have your fun times, have your chill times, have your play times, very necessary. But just ensure that you look back on this season in future and you tell yourself, and you would know that it is because I was able to do this and this and this and this and this, that something is manifesting in your life in later years. The things that we are doing now is not necessarily for the next 6 months. It is for years that are to come. It is such an amazing, unprecedented, once again, rare season that can be used by all of us to birth new things in our lives. Thank you for watching this video. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you for coming. Do subscribe and I will see you on the next vlog. Bye.